Welcome back, everybody. Today's video is going to be our weekly meta update for 7.39 C, D, EFG, whatever it may be. What's relevant is that it is the patch for TI, and it's also, I've had some learnings, and there have also been some meta developments. So I would like to talk about those by going over my hero grid as per usual, giving you a bit of an explanation what is happening and why I think it's working in these meta developments that have happened, and also what's working for me and why. So without further ado, let's jump into the nitty gritty. So if you guys are not already familiar, I like to have a hero grid that covers every position, because in my bracket, we have Immortal Q instead of Roll Q, and I get stuck playing random things all the time. And I have found for myself that being able to play a little bit of everything is ideal. And if I'm playing off roles, mid lane being probably my worst role, and I like to play heroes that overlap with my other roles, whether they've been played as carries, offlaners, supports, etc. So, looking at our hero grid here, I feel like the meta for 5, my major development is that Shadow Shaman as a support has fallen off a lot. While he's still in my games, he doesn't feel nearly as scary as he did before. He's still strong, don't get me wrong. It just feels like there's other options. Even though I don't have them in my pool because I'm just not very good at them, I've noticed that melee 5s seem to be pretty damn strong right now. Obviously, I play Undying, but I'm thinking like Tusk. I've seen some Ogre. I effectively think Bane is a melee 5 in terms of the way that he plays the lane. Like he plays in front of you, trading aggressively. And that feels like, because right now lane securers just feel super impactful. I've seen a lot of greedier carries popping their heads up, most notably the one that doesn't have a face, and that's Faceless Void. We're going to get into a bit more what's making him meta right now. But with these greedier carries, I feel like having heroes that can body for you feels really powerful. Probably the best lane securing 5 that I just refuse to play out of stubbornness and no other excuse I can give is Dazzle. So I would be putting him in my top tier 5s as well. That's why I have Undying as my absolute first, because I feel like the job right now of 5 to be the most impactful is to secure your lane and then try to build items that effectively keep yourself alive and have your spells do the rest. So I like to go like Glimmer Capes and Force Staves and Ghost Scepters. And heroes like Undying I love because they have some way of clearing the wave. For him, it's Decay. For a hero like Dazzle, it's also very good at clearing waves. So you have ways of getting those like 1 or 2 small items that help you keep alive. That seems like the formula for 5 right now. When I'm looking at the 4 position, my meta update here is that with Shadow Shaman going down, being knocked down a rung, I really believe in Lion right now. Maybe it's just been a short-term win streak for me. I've played 3 games of him, and all 3 of them I felt really impactful. I know that sounds like a small sample size, but if anybody knows what I mean, I feel like when a hero is easy to play and naturally impactful. So I do believe he's like a little bit of a weaker laner than Shadow Shaman, but just having that reliable disable for all of these super mobile mids that we see in my bracket, which is like the Pucks, Embers, Storms. If you're dealing with a lot tankier mids, you know, I think more popular mids in lower MMRs are like Necrophos and stuff, then I wouldn't recommend Lion. If you're dealing with these mobile shitters that are really hard to position around and they usually are the ones responsible for killing you, Lion has been very successful for me for that reason. And I've also been seeing him picked a lot more in my games, so it just feels like that's not a coincidence. Going to the mid lane, honestly, my go-to is Primal Beast, because I want to segue into offlane and say that my go-to offlaner has been Primal Beast. I've actually been going into a private lobby and practicing my refresher combos with him, because this hero, I know in the past we saw like Blade Mail Hearts, we saw like Eternal Shrouds, like these like tanky builds. But what it feels like is super powerful about Primal Beast right now is just going refresher in a BKB. So pretty much every game I have Phase, Soul Ring, BKB, Blink, refresher. Sometimes I go Shivas, then refresher, but I usually go refresher, then Shivas. And because you're going for the facet that gives you, look at my recent win rate, pretty solid. This was actually only a loss because I got griefed, meaning somebody literally broke their items. But his facet makes it so that his ultimate increases his AoE. So items like Shivas are really impactful. So I'm actually going to show you a drill that I've been doing that really helped me on Primal Beast. So we're going to break this down. He has a cool combo in the late game with refresher that I think is a bit tough to execute if you're not used to it. I was very slow to do it at first, but once I got the hang of it, it's pretty easy. So let me focus up here. Bunch of hearts for the opponent. I level max myself out. I have what I consider to be a standard inventory for Primal Beast. And what I am practicing is that after you ult, you can shift into Q, into S, which makes you immediately charge and get a bonus 1.4 second stun that does not allow them to press BKB or any other buttons because it's an instant cast point. So like, for instance, what you're doing is you're ulting, shift QS, and then you do this, and your hero stuns them for extra. But the combo that I'm practicing is Shiva's Blink BKB Soul Ring ult, Shift QS, Refresher Soul Ring BKB ult. Now, if you lost me, if I lost you, let's just show you. So I've been practicing that combo over and over again, and at the beginning it was pretty tough for me, but being able to practice these late game combos, I've actually maybe it's a coincidence, but I've had people come into my chat talking about late game items that they buy that they're struggling to use because they don't get much practice on them. Oddly enough, I used to never practice this. To some of my viewers, this may be really obvious, but I've always thought I just wasn't very good at button pressing in the late game. But ever since I did that, I've like carried the shit out of some games with Primal Beast in the late game, especially. And I also noticed I felt a lot more comfortable going into the late game, which meant that in the early game, I played a lot better because I was more composed. So I think this can help you not only get better at Primal Beast specifically, but if you have heroes late game that you want to practice buttons with, make sure you're doing that, because I've had this common trend in my coaching sessions show up where people are basically saying, I feel like we needed to end the game early. And I believe that's actually rooted, I can't say for sure, but I believe it is rooted in the fact that you're not confident going late game. So I think the solution to that is, rather than trying to force the end of the game, if you ever get that feeling, work on some late game button pressing on whatever hero that you had that feeling on, and give yourself that confidence that if the game goes to shit, you're getting tier 5 items, you don't know what the hell's going on, that you're still able to execute. Going back to our hero grid, I always try to keep updated on my heroes to worry about in the draft. These are just heroes that I think significantly changed the game that I've been experiencing recently. So this is something that's always dynamic. I don't encourage you to copy paste what I have here. It's more like, I've lost a Tinker 5 games in the last week, or I've been really struggling against this hero, and I put them there. And what that also does is it helps me think about why that hero is causing me issues. It also helps me keep on their radar so I don't get like ambushed by them again. Effectively taking notes for heroes that are causing you issues. When we're looking at the offlane meta, I'm still noticing Axe. I'm still down to first pick Axe. He still feels really strong. I still see a shit ton of Dawnbreaker. I've just been spamming Primal Beast. Like, if you look at my recent games, I've just been playing a lot of Primal Beast and Axe. All the heroes I'm mentioning to you, I've had a lot of success with recently, and they feel very powerful. So that's why, you know, I'm coming from my bias J perspective here. But heroes that I haven't gotten to experiment with that I want to go into is the carry role. Sadly, in my bracket, I just don't get to play carry very often because of the whole role queue thing, but it's still my favorite role. The hero I have gotten to play is Luna, and my games have felt really strong to just go straight treads into Manta, no Mask of Madness, because I feel like this hero with Moonstorm Facet is able to lane really strong and actually participate in mid-game fights, and that's what makes her a good carry. If you don't do that, then I don't feel like she's very strong. She gets outscaled by other carries. By buying Mask of Madness, I believe that neuters your ability to do that. What I might do is go Dragonlance before Manta if I feel like I need that extra HP, but my ideal build is treads into Manta into Ags. What happens with the Ags is that with the level 15 talent of Eclipse 40-second cooldown, you have a 65-second cooldown Eclipse, and usually around that time, you're going to hit level 18 pretty soon if you haven't already, which means that you are looking at 18 beams that hit for 300 damage. Not to mention that when you get level 20, it's then 410 damage. So I'm also taking the Lucent Beam Mini Stun talent, and I've had a ton of success with her. You can check out my streams history for Luna games, because I've had a lot of success with her, and she feels very stable. She's an ideal like farming range carry right now. If you can get off to a decent start in lane, usually I just need a melee 5 to make that happen. That's my one condition for picking her. But definitely try her out. I either go for like some Refresher Octarine build to play purely into my ult, but in an ideal world to carry the game, I like to go like BKB, Butterfly, Satanic afterwards, where my ult is just meant to kill like one support at the start of the fight, or just force 2 people to press BKB. Stuff like this. Kind of just give the fight momentum, and then be a standard right-click carry after that. That's my approach to Luna, and I've been having a lot of success with her thus far. But the one big meta update that has been developed in the last week or two, as far as I know, it started with Yatoro. Maybe he took it from somebody else, but the meta is Helm of the Dominator on Faceless Void. So effectively, what people are doing is buying Helm of the Dominator on Faceless Void as a replacement for Mask of Madness. Before we get into what they're even doing with it, it's important to note that heroes that utilize Helm of the Dominator oftentimes have some way to buff up the creep, and historically it's pretty much only been Lycan and Beastmaster. And one thing that's notable about these two heroes is that they don't really need boots. Beastmaster forces you to fight into him because he pushes towers so fast, and Lycan has an ultimate that hastes him. When we're looking at Helm of the Dominator, the weaknesses of it is that it's a 2,500 gold item, so it's relatively expensive for like a smaller item, has a really expensive recipe. So why it's important that you're not getting boots is heroes that get it often want to use it to take like an early tower and get momentum, and that means you usually have to rush it. So the heroes that it works best on are ones that don't require boots in order to function, and they also would like a little bit of extra health regen while not really needing mana regen, because this is what this item does not supply, is mana regen and mobility. So the two carries that we've been seeing the most with, because we're no longer seeing it as a Beastmaster-like an item only, has been most notably Faceless Void and Marcy. Marcy can sidekick the creep, she can use it to rebound, so that she can get to camps quicker, she can jump people, and allowing her to basically blink from camp to camp like she would like to. And you also see like Marcy offlane doing this. But Faceless Void also buffs up the creep with his Chronosphere. Like the creep can move around in the Chronosphere and hit people and stuff. Now, I don't think that that's the big point of it. What I realized when people were asking me about this is it got me understanding that people don't necessarily, in my opinion, grasp what the first item a carry buys is for. So what the first item a carry buys is for, in my experience, is that it either sustains you so you can stay on the map farming, accelerates you so you can farm faster, or it gives you stats on more squishy heroes that have built-in high stat gain so that you can stay alive while you're farming. Idea is that it accelerates your farm in a reliable, sustainable way, whether that's through sustain, killing creeps faster, or by staying alive. And so if we look at like a hero like Sven, he goes Mask of Madness because he needs sustain, and it also speeds up his farm. We look at a hero like Jug, doesn't really farm fast naturally with his skills, so he goes Maelstrom or Battle Fury. Same with Anti-Mage, right? When we look at a hero like Faceless Void, previously he was going Mask of Madness. But first off, the build-up isn't all that great. They've nerfed the item. It gives you no ability to participate in the mid-game because you're super squishy, and you can't really lane. You can't really sustain through stuff. And Helm Dom is a beautiful replacement for several reasons. The reason why it's an amazing replacement to these post-laning stage carry items is for two reasons. One, it gives stats. Like, let's look at just the stats that it gives. 6 attributes, armor, and health regen. These are things that if a hero doesn't have built-in sustain, yes, Faceless Void has Time Walk, but it's usually not enough to sustain through people poking you down. So it makes you harder to kill, gives you regen, and that alone is nice in theory. The key change that's happened recently to Helm of the Dominator, if we go down to the bottom of the description, it grants the caster the gold and experience bounty of the dominated creep. Also, if we look closely at the cooldown, it is a 45-second cooldown. So while it doesn't give any bonus gold or experience like a Midas does, it effectively has less than half of the cooldown. Because we look at Midas, and it's every 110 seconds. So you can Helm of the Dominator more than twice for every time that you would have been able to use a Midas, and that effectively creates a Midas out of it. And so if you think about a hero like Faceless Void and Marcy that don't have super fast farming in the early game, and you get like a 7-8 minute Helm of the Dominator because you just straight rushed it, suddenly you're killing the big camp every minute. And that's accelerating your farm significantly. And if the offlaner leaves, you also have the ability to pressure the tower. Basically, is a hybrid Midas / like Meteor Hammer. You know, like it's an item that helps you pressure towers, sustains you, and also is a Midas. So that's why I believe it's conceptually broken. I personally think they're going to nerf the item to be like 90-second cooldown and just leave everything else as is. Because what I think is making it broken is that it's being used as a Midas. People are just dominating creeps off cooldown. Doesn't matter what creep you have, it's just dominated off cooldown. I've had people come into my chat and tell me they think this item is just so broken that anybody can buy it. I have a strong opinion. The weakness of this item is you have to rush it for it to be like max impact, and it doesn't give you any mana, and it doesn't give you any mobility. So I think there's actually very few heroes that can get away with rushing this and having it be okay. But those heroes are really good with it, and it seems like the best build. And people are just going normal items after that. Faceless Void's just going Helm of the Dominator into Treads, Maelstrom, BKB. Like, it's just a farming item. That's all it is, right? The point that I was thinking is, what heroes in the game have the mobility so they don't need boots, would like a bit of health regen, but don't really need mana regen. They also can't really clear camps very fast, because I feel like these three criteria like are necessary for it to be good on the hero. So Marcy and Void are the ones that we've seen. The hero that I want to try it on, oddly enough, is Anti-Mage. Usually builds some sort of health regen, can't clear early big camps, and also armor on a hero with built-in magic resistance. This is a hero I'm going to try it on. I'm going to go a Helm of the Dominator, Treads, probably Radiance build I'm going to try out on Anti-Mage, and I'm going to let you guys know how it goes. Maybe an absolute failure, but that is the other hero that I think can make it work. I've theory crafted to myself, and I haven't thought of anything else, but if you guys see something that you're like, BSJ, this speaks to me, I've tried it. Helm of the Dominator on X hero is fantastic. Feel free to leave it in the comments. Let me know. Pretty much a lot of the times people suggested something, I was like, that hero needs mana regen. That hero needs boots. If the hero doesn't need mana regen, doesn't need boots, and doesn't clear camps fast, then boom. If you could find one, I'm proud of you. I'm looking forward to your guys' suggestions and we can make it work. But that's the significant meta development right now, is basically Helm of the Dominator replacing Midas on a lot of these carries, and also being their like mid-game farming item. To wrap up my meta update video, I would actually like to talk about a personal meta update that I think applies to everybody to some degree. So what's happened is, I feel like it's probably a bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy, but I feel like everybody has that one or two heroes in the game that they hate. Like, they feel like when the hero's on your team and or when you play it, everyone on your team sucks all of a sudden, the game goes to shit, you feel really unlucky. What I've noticed is my hero that fits this description is Vengeful Spirit, oddly enough. Every time I play offlane Venge, I don't know why. It's probably something I'm doing. My teammates don't know what the fuck they're doing. What I have actually done is I have embraced that I can either choose to dissect this critically and figure out what I'm doing that's causing this, or the more simple solution is I don't really enjoy playing the hero and I have this like negative mentality towards it. Notice how there's one hero not visible on my hero grid, and that's Vengeful Spirit. And that is me promising myself to just never pick this hero again unless I want to consciously confront these demons. So that is my meta update that I think may help some people out there. Highly encourage you. I think it's more impactful if you don't struggle against playing against it, you just struggle playing it. If you struggle playing against it, then you might need to put it in your ban list and everything. Overall, that was something that's actually helped me, giving me peace of mind. And also, we don't need to be able to play every hero in this game. If there's a hero that just doesn't vibe with you, don't hesitate to prevent yourself from getting baited into picking it when you think it's good again. And that's effectively what this is done by me moving it, Vengeful Spirit, off the grid. No respect to our girl, Vengeful Spirit. So, that wraps up our meta update for this week. I'll be back next week with yet another one, and I look forward to seeing you guys then. Please like, comment, subscribe, because I will be releasing 2 videos per week in the coming future. That's my plan. So I can't wait to be delivering you guys regular content twice per week. See you guys soon in the next video.